throughout the whole story, he says, I do not like it, Sam, I do not like it on a train, on a plane, on a boat. But at the end, he gets to try it, and he realizes how fabulous it is. So, we're going to experience that today. We're going to make green eggs, very green eggs, and ham, and cheese, and a bunch of other stuff. We're going to make green eggs and ham omelets, and everyone gets your own omelet at the end, and you get to practice cooking an omelet. We're also going to use green onions, so we can add to the green eggs and ham.
Some onion lovers.
Yes. And here's our eggs. Everyone is going to practice cracking an egg. Do you crack the egg directly into the blender while it's blending?
No.
No, and why is that?
Because it could splatter all over.
It could splatter all over. What else could happen?
Oh, big explosion.
Big explosions. Yeah.
Blade could fly off.
Well, that also could happen. Yes.
Shells.
Shells. Yes, that's also a bad thing. If you crack it right in there, don't even notice the shell and turn it on. You've got tiny bits of sharp shells in your eggs, and you don't want that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to crack my eggs in a bowl. Take a look at it. No shells. Good. Have you guys ever separated an egg?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So if you were, say I wanted to make an omelet just with the whites, I would take my egg and I would go back and forth between both halves until only the yolk is left. And then you can make an egg white omelet. Say your mom doesn't want any yolks because it has too much cholesterol. You can make her an egg white green omelet. Okay, so there's our eggs. Perfectly shell-free. They're going in the blender. We're also taking a little handful of spinach. You don't need a lot. So this is one serving, okay? So think of it like a little spinach salad, but it's going to be turned into a little omelet. Now, if you want, you can put a little splash of milk in here as well. When we get into our different groups, we're going to do everyone's omelet all at once. So we're going to put not just 2 eggs. I think for every group we'll probably put 8 eggs or something like that. And then everyone gets a little part of the egg. So we've got a little bit of that, little bit of that. We're going to put just a touch of salt. We don't want to put too much salt in our omelet because something else that goes in the omelet is quite salty already. The ham has salt added, the cheese has salt added. So we don't want to add too much salt to the egg part because then there's just too much altogether. So here's a little bit of pepper. Sprinkle that in. And we're not going to put the onion directly into the eggs. We're going to use this in a little bit. So if everyone wants to follow me over to here, turn it on. Now never do this when your blender's on, obviously, right? Because then this thing's going to get all blended up into your dish. So let's take it on. This is called a pulse, and a pulse means it stops as soon as you lift your finger. So you can see how it's turning a bit greener and greener and greener. This is looking more and more Dr. Seuss as I blend. Now take a look. The eggs are actually green. Usually when you make an omelet, you're going to put a little bit of milk or cream in it. Today you don't have to because the spinach itself has a bit of water in it. In fact, it probably has 90% water. It doesn't look like it, but it does. So now that I've blended it up, the water is going to make the eggs a little bit easier to cook so they're not so hard. And we're going to go over back to the front table. If you guys want to just giant board, cut the plastic off, obviously. Make sure. Now, there's quite a few of you, but this is a giant pan, so everyone gets lots of ham. Don't worry about that. We're going to separate the ham into 4 chunks because we're going to have 4 groups. Because there's no bones in this, you don't have to worry about doing anything special. So just cut it straight in half. This is our middle of the ham.
I love you.
I like ham. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little bit from this one chunk here. When you're cutting your ham into cubes, all you have to worry about is that they're small and uniform. Everyone know what uniform means?
No.
Like the same size. Thank you. So I'm just gonna cut a couple strips off. to make a nice chopped ham, I'm going to move this part of the ham over so you guys can all see. Can you see it okay? You want to make, I don't actually take the edges off. I like these edges. They kind of taste good. This is edible, so you don't have to worry about that. So we're going to take this piece of ham, make it into ham sticks. Okay? So when you guys cut your own ham today, make them into ham sticks first. When you have a line of sticks, notice what I'm doing with my knife. I'm holding it like I'm shaking someone's hand. I'm not sure if anyone has the big knives, so I'll show you with the little knives. Hold it like you're shaking someone's hand. And then take your sticks of ham. Make sure your fingers are tucked under. If you stick them out, what's going to happen? You can either chop your finger or you can chop your nail off into the ham and not realize it, and then you're eating a nail. And you don't want to do that either. So keep your fingers tucked under, and then just slide it back and forth. So this is going to turn into cute little ham chunks. So I like using a big knife, just because it's a lot faster. There you go. We're going to do the same thing with a couple green onions. But because I'm only doing one person's meal, and because these two are going to be mixed together, I don't have to worry about using a separate board. If I'm using raw meat though, this isn't raw, this is smoked ham, so it's already ready to eat. If you're using raw meat, never put vegetables and meat on the same board. So what I'm going to do, I'll take a little bit of the green part. This is the best part. Now green onion, how many people have tried green onion? Pretty good, right? It doesn't taste like onion. Like white onion is really, really strong. Green onion is pretty mild, and it adds a lot of flavor to your dish. So I'm going to do the same thing. My green onion's already in sticks. Notice I'm actually holding the onion without keeping my fingers in the way. I'm tucking them underneath. Okay, so here's our onion, little tiny bit of onion, little bit of ham. And cheese is our last step. If you wanted to get me a little chunk of cheese, everyone's going to get to grate your own cheese. All you need is a couple grates per person. You can pile your cheese on top. So, at this point, I wouldn't mind actually a little pre-grated. Oh, it's pre-grated. Ta-da! Already grating your own, yeah. Everyone else is grating their own. But you know how to grate cheese. So let's gather around here. I'm going to turn this on. Okay, so because I'm using a non-stick frying pan, I don't have to do more than 1 teaspoon of butter. When some people put too much butter in their eggs, it's just swimming in butter. And it doesn't taste that much better. It doesn't taste better at all. So you want to keep your butter on low. Feel that? Don't actually touch it. If you feel from here that it's hot, you know you got the right element. We're going to let this heat up. As soon as the butter is bubbly, and completely melted, that's when I want to add the eggs. If I add the eggs too early, they're just going to sit on a really cold pan and they're going to stick. So if you wait for the butter to melt, you can already see it happening. If you wait for the butter to melt and get nice and bubbly and hot, then you're set to go. So while I'm waiting for this to heat up, I'm going to get my fillings and the best part, the green eggs. So it's a pretty simple recipe, but there's lots of color. Now there's something coming up, I think, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, all that stuff. So if you guys want to do this for your parents, maybe breakfast in bed or something like that, and impress them with the fact that you can make something green. I think they would really like it.
I think they'll think that we poison it.
Maybe they will. Okay, so just a tiny bit of butter. We're going to be using 3 frying pans all at the same time. So if your group has finished your first steps, you can come over here and I'll help you. Okay, so this is ready to go. Take a look. It's already melted across the pan. It doesn't have to be covering the entire thing. And it's starting to bubble, so you know it's good. Now remember, this is 2 eggs, a little bit of spinach, salt, and pepper. That's it. Notice how the heat is on high. The reason it's on high is we want this to cook really fast. So it should sound like a little bit sizzly. You
Yeah,
get
there
that?
it is.
Yeah. Little sizzly sound. Okay. Here's the bottom of our delightful omelet. You're going to be able to tell as you see the edges brown. That's my son. My husband made it my ringtone, so he laughs and I know when my phone's ringing. But we're not going to get that right now. If you want the cooking process to go even faster, if you have a lid, so these ones over here have lids, this one doesn't, I can maybe cover it like this. What happens when you cover something with a lid?
It keeps the heat in.
Yes. What word did you use? It's humid and there's heat, but what's the word? What is that stuff that floats around?
Steam.
Steam. So you're steaming your eggs, and steam is actually hotter than boiling water. So the steam is going to cook around on the top part of the egg while the bottom part is cooking. Now you do have to be careful with this because you don't want the bottom of your egg to cook too fast. So I'm going to keep watching it. Let's take a look at this. See, notice how it's actually stopped moving, which is kind of cool. We're going to take a look at here. So at this point, with your omelet, you run your spatula around the edge of your omelet. You want to lift up the edge so it doesn't stick, because we're going to actually be folding all of our omelets together. So notice that. This is what you want your omelet to do. When it has just a tiny bit of water left, I just move it over a little bit so you can cook over there. Notice how it's almost cooked through. This is when you add your filling. Okay, so we're going to add our ham. We're going to add a little bit of onion. It's a very pretty omelet. And we're going to add our cheese. You can put your cheese on top as well, but this is kind of nice when it's all together like this. Okay, so here's the fun part. Everyone's going to get to do this on your own. You fold one side over, you turn it, you fold the other side over,
It's like a wrap.
and it's like a wrap.
Like a burrito.
And then you flip it over. And this, my friends, is your omelet. And it's all done.